raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
Welcome to the Christian Car Guy Radio Show.
I say this calls for action, and now.
It's not Tom Hanks, it's not Chris Pratt, anyone famous. It's a matter of fact. I said it once and I won't take it back. Well, my favorite person is you. You are my favorite person. Yeah. You are the very best thing that has happened to me. If they line up everybody in the world and I got my pick of 4 billion guys, 4 billion girls, I'd say you are my favorite person.
Blessed are the favorite pickers, for they will be picked as favorites. That actually, in Robbie's opinion, is a better translation of Matthew chapter 5, verse 7 than what many would think, which is blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. But a careful study of those words, you would find that it would be the word grace that's in there. And with that idea of God's favor, what that begins to unravel, which we'll do that in a minute. But I'm going to tell you, we are so favored that you picked us to listen to today. And I think you're going to be so thrilled because we're going to get into this. It's just the more I have seen how God revealed himself through this understanding that I'm going to share with you today, the more my mind is open to what godly people are like, what godly people do, and how to be more like God. Like, I think that's an opportunity for all of us. As we see what God talked to about himself in Exodus 34 when he described himself to Moses. Plus, we have Ann Alt, our old friend, back with Christian Car Guy Theater, and we're going under the sea today. Under the Sea with Ann Alt in a new Little Mermaid episode of Christian Car Guy Theater coming up at the third segment. But we got Ann for the whole show, so welcome, Ann.
Hi there, Robbie.
Coming to
you, swimming in lots of love.
Coming from Mississippi, right down in the Mississippi State, right there. Today, I'm excited, and I think you will be delighted with Ann's performance in The Little Mermaid. As you might guess, she was cast as the Little Mermaid. And Alan Kennedy wrote the script, and it is delightful. And that's coming up in the third segment, but also because it is the Jesus Labor Love Weekend, we have another one of my favorites. Because when I think of my favorite people, I'm surrounded by them. Like my producer Nick is certainly one of my favorite people, and then I got Randy, my long time friend and assistant producer that's in there. And then I got Scott Barton, all these favorites that I have. I couldn't be more blessed than to have my dear friend Ann back with me, and Scott, and all these people all at the same time. So we're going to get to those. If you're not familiar with the Jesus Labor Love, it's car repair labor for single moms, widows, and families in crisis. And what an opportunity, right, Scott? To
absolutely
show favor to people that have really not been shown much favor.
Yeah. And veterans, we might have one calling in today.
So, and we've had a bunch of cars donated, like, wow. And we're working through some of those processes. How God has blessed this ministry this year, it blows my mind. But that happens as a result of you all out there listening and being obedient to what God has put on your heart to do. And as a result, God is showing great favor to some people who need some cars as a result of what he's done. So anyway, if you look carefully, I want to get into this a minute because it's such a nugget. I don't want you to miss out on it. It's so precious. A careful study of Romans 9:15. In Romans 9:15, Paul quotes the passage where in Exodus 34:19, where God describes himself. The reason why that's so critical is God's going to do one of the few things you see, and he's talking to Moses. He talks to Moses face to face, and he's put Moses in the cleft of the rock, and he goes by him. And as he goes by him, he says some things. And one of the things he says is, right, you may have heard it as I will show mercy on whom, I will show mercy to. But if you look at that in Hebrew and the way it's translated actually in the King James Version, it says, I will show grace. I will be gracious to those I will be gracious to. And actually repeats the word 3 times, the word grace in there. And so it's grace, grace, grace. And grace is a lot different word than mercy, especially in Hebrew. But the challenge is that in Greek, there's only one verb, and it's translated either compassion or mercy or grace. But most of the times it's translated mercy. But the challenge is grace, which is what Jesus is described as having full of, right? In John chapter 1, when he was described as Jesus is full of grace, is the concept of favor. Now, with that all in mind, God said that I'm going to show my favoritism to the people that are my favorites, okay? And if you think about that, Noah being the first one, he was completely his favorite. And he was certainly favored him, and he got to live, right? And it was the first person who found favor in God's eyes, which is where the word grace starts to begin to enter the biblical picture. Now, I want you to think about some of the most godly people you have ever met in your life, that met them personally, and that you were in their presence, okay? And I'm really, really blessed. I've been in the presence of Charles Stanley. I've been in the presence of John MacArthur. I've been in the presence of James Dobson, okay? But I've also been in the presence of my wife. And what I'm telling you, and when I've been in the presence of Randy Epperson, I've been in the presence of Scott Barton. Some of the most godly people that I know of, when I'm in their presence, I feel like I'm seen. I feel like I'm accepted. I feel like these people have faith in me. Like they believe. In fact, Charles Stanley is a lot of the reason that you're probably listening to the Christian Car Guy show today, because he heard the show. He put it on Series 161, clear back in the very first days in 2007. And I was talking to the whole country before Harley, because Charles Stanley had faith in me.
Amazing.
Right. But see,
That's so
it was
cool.
grace. It's grace. Right. And when you think about it, oh man, I felt that way with a parent or a grandparent, or maybe had an uncle that just like you could tell you were their favorite, and they saw you and they just knew that you were going to be a tremendous value to the world, however that worked. Now, just picture this in your mind. Jesus is full of that. When you're in Jesus's presence, especially if you're in prayer, okay, which is your opportunity to experience grace any moment you choose to be in God's presence and feel that favor, that grace, that acceptance, that faith, okay? It's available to everybody that's in Christ. Here's what he tells you. Now Jesus is going to teach on this idea, and he's going to teach on it in Matthew 5. When he says, blessed are people who treat you like you're their favorite. Blessed are those people, because I'm going to treat them like I'm their, like, in other words, if you give it, you're going to receive it. Not only are you going to get it from Jesus, but I think you will find, and I certainly have in my life, because I've understood this for some time, but I never saw it so clearly taught as I saw it this morning, actually, as I started to see this unreal. That if you begin to treat people like you were treated by that person that made you feel so special, if you begin to treat people, you'd be shocked at how many people begin to treat you that way. And the place I actually dug this out was in Mark chapter 5 with the demoniac, because Jesus told him, if you look at it in the Robbie Standard Version, he told him, go tell everybody the grace that I showed you. Because here's this guy that didn't deserve, he's running around the tombs acting like a crazy man, right? He's a Gentile. He's on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. There's no reason for Jesus to go through a storm to go over there to get to this guy. However, he went for one man. He showed him phenomenal grace. And as a result, 4,000 people get fed later on because of that man experiencing grace and then go showing other people the grace of finding out about Jesus, right? And therein lies what God put on my heart today. That idea that we can share that feeling of love and acceptance and faith as it was showed to us. So we got Ann Alt coming. We got the Jesus Labor Love coming. We got Wendy on the line. We're loaded for bear. We don't have you yet. You can call us with your thoughts. 866-348-7884. 866-348-7884. We'll be right back.
A family treasure, a man of God, has gone on to be with his eternal family in heaven. Thank you, Dr. Dobson.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Author, speaker, radio host, and mighty man of God, Dr. James Dobson has gone on to heaven. You may remember his many books, Dare to Discipline, Love Must Be Tough, all kinds of books on marriage and family and raising kids in the fear of the Lord. So many of us, including my family, have been eternally impacted by this man of God's contribution. Thank you, Dr. Dobson, for putting God first and then putting family above all else. In a day and age of compromise, Dr. Dobson stood for what was right and fought for the family. Thank God for Dr. James Dobson.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing. Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Here's Dr. Robert Jeffress with today's Pathway Minute.
I want you to listen to this very carefully. It's worth the price of the sermon. Best quote I've come across in years comes from the late Bible teacher Warren Wiersbe. He said, many people have the mistaken idea that hearing a good sermon or Bible study is what makes them grow and gets God's blessings. It is not the hearing, but the doing that brings the blessing. If you think you are spiritual because you have heard the word of God, then you are only kidding yourselves. Isn't that what James says? If you think hearing the word of God is enough, you are deluding yourself, is what the scripture says. You are deceiving yourself.
Today's Pathway Minute is provided by your station and Pathway to Victory. To hear the Bible teaching of Dr. Robert Jeffress, go to ptv.org.
This is Carter Conlon. In 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 2, the people decided to go to the Jordan and take out a beam to create a new dwelling for themselves. This act symbolizes the beginning of something new. Just as every house starts with a single piece of wood, our journey towards God's promises begins with one step of faith. This beam represents the promise of abundance found in John chapter 10, verse 10, where Jesus says, I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. He offers not just eternal life, but a life filled with purpose and joy. As followers of Christ, we're not meant to live in mediocrity or struggle through every day. We have a higher calling to reflect His glory in this world. It's time to embrace this promise of abundant life and seek to build a dwelling for God's presence within you. Start today. Talk to God. it's now time for you and I to pray.
Simply remember my favorite things.
You are my favorite person. Yeah. You are the very best thing that has happened to me. If they line up everybody in the world and I got my pick of 4 billion guys, 4 billion girls, I'd say you are my favorite person.
Maybe you stood in the picking line at some point in time to either play dodgeball or basketball or baseball. And there was this line of players and the captains began to pick, and you thought for sure that you would be picked last. However, somebody reached out their long finger and they said, I pick you. They had faith in you. Maybe you should have been picked first and you got picked first. I don't know how it all works out, but I do know the feeling of being picked, chosen. That's the idea. That's the idea. Being chosen, being picked, being favored. That's what we're talking about today on the Christian Car Guy Show. And speaking of favored, we have Wendy, who's with Jesus Labor Love, recipient of a car and maybe a recipient of another car real soon. So, Wendy, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Morning, Wendy.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you?
We are wonderful. We are wonderful. What have you got for us today? And always, one of my favorite of all time, truly, Wendy, you are a participant in the Jesus Labor Love in so many different ways. We are so grateful for you.
Yeah.
You are so kind. I was listening to you talk this morning, and that's actually a message I really needed to hear. I know the Lord, but sometimes, we forget how much he favors us and how much he provides for us. And you can be in a place where it seems like things are just not going your way. And as I was hearing you guys talk, I was like, man, that's exactly the message I needed. It brought up for me the verse 1 John 4:19. It says we love each other because he first loved us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just reminding me that like the strength and the power to show God's love to other people and show that favor comes from the fact that he favors us even when we don't deserve it. And you guys have are continuing to do that for me and for my son. I don't know if your listeners know, but I have a son with special needs, and it just has really you guys have worked long term in our lives now. My Pontiac bit the dust, and I'm grateful for, the time that we had it and we could drive it. And, but you guys have just been faithful ongoing to us, and we appreciate that show of God's love for sure.
The neat thing for me in this particular, and you may know about the Volvo that was donated to us that I think has already been completed, and hopefully we can get that in your hands quickly, because I know you've been without. But that Volvo was donated by one of my best friends.
Oh wow,
Gaither Markland.
Oh, wow.
I've known him for I don't know, 30 some odd years.
Oh, bless him.
And he's a guy is in my Christian Businessmen's Committee in Moxville. We meet every week, and of all the saints you'll ever meet in your life, I mean, this man, and he just said, Robbie, I got this car that my wife had, and I just think you guys it's just sitting in my driveway. Why don't I just donate this car? And I've seen this car for years because it was his wife's car. It's an absolutely beautiful Volvo. I mean, it is a super nice car, and I knew it would go right through because he takes really good care of his equipment of his cars. He's a farmer amongst many other things that Gaither does. And so it is really, really amazing. But here's the cool thing about Gaither, okay, that he was really blessed. Okay. God blessed him for whatever reason, gave him the wisdom to invest in cell phone towers back before cell phone towers were a thing.
Huh.
And so he bought up a bunch of land just to put cell phone towers on it and sold them to Verizon. And as a result of that, it worked out really well for him financially.
Oh, wow.
As you might imagine. And so he's one of those who was blessed to be a blessing that I know of in my life. He just is. And I know the man walks around with large amounts of money, waiting for God to tell him, give this to somebody. But he waits. I mean, he's that kind of person that when he senses it, then it's going to happen. You know, if he doesn't sense it, it doesn't happen.
That is so awesome.
But also, you know, here's the part that speaks grace to me, okay? Because most of us treat each other transactionally. In other words, if you're being good to me, I'm going to be good to you. And if you stop being good to me, then I'm going to stop being good to you. If you stop talking, you know, if you treat me, and it's a very transactional thing. However, that is not graceful. In fact, it's disgraceful.
Yep.
If you are
conditional
in any way, right, working in that, well, to know Gaither, and I've known him, I'm telling you, the beauty of that car from my standpoint, Wendy, is I know few people that have that unbelievable ability to completely love on people that really have just let them down, let them down, let them down, let them down, let them down. Right. And, you know, honestly, and you know this, Scott, my boss, Stu Epperson, you know, he's one of those that has that gift. And it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful understanding. And so we're so grateful. We really are, Wendy, because it takes people with a need that are honest that they have a need. And by the way, we all have needs, and we all need to be honest that we have needs.
That's right.
In order for other people to bless you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a neat thing, and we're so grateful for you. Want to give you another second if you wanted to share anything.
Just thank you. That's an extra measure of favor that you're friends with this person, and please hug his neck for me. Please thank him for me. I don't know if I'll ever get to meet him, or even I hope to meet you in person someday, but that's so cool, you know, that you know his history and he's willing to, you know, pass along a car, and just feel blessed and favored to have gotten to, you know, even know you guys and be part of the ministry and just receive that, you know. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you, Wendy. God bless you. Have an amazing weekend. I'm looking forward to the Volvo stories coming up.
Yeah. We'll follow up soon, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Do have Ann Alt coming up with a Little Mermaid. We're going under the sea when we come back. Right out of the break, we're going to be under the sea with me and Ann Alt in a Little Mermaid. Talk about grace. Oh, you're going to experience some here as it's just a fascinating story. We'll be right back.
We listen to the Truth Network. TruthNetwork.com.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba, please be done. Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but God is there every time.
A listener writes, Gary, what should be the boundaries for an ex-spouse who is still in the family picture?
Well, this is one of the difficult things about second marriages. Whenever divorce takes place, that person they're still there. Chances are they'll be at the wedding of the children, and they may be there when the children are sick, and just a lot of other interactions that you cannot avoid. And so I would say we have to accept that as reality. They're going to be in the picture. They are a part of the family. Even though the divorce is final, they still are the parent of your children, and they're still your ex-spouse. So I think as long as it is not destructive behavior when you're together, you need to make the most of it. You need to accept each other where you are, and you need to ask God to help both of you to be good parents.
Dr. Gary Chapman is the author of The 5 Love Languages. For more answers, visit startmarriageright.com.
Here's Dr. Robert Jeffress with today's Pathway Minute.
I want you to listen to this very carefully. It's worth the price of the sermon. Best quote I've come across in years comes from the late Bible teacher Warren Wiersbe. He said, many people have the mistaken idea that hearing a good sermon or Bible study is what makes them grow and gets God's blessings. It is not the hearing, but the doing that brings the blessing. If you think you are spiritual because you have heard the Word of God, then you are only kidding yourselves. Isn't that what James says? If you think hearing the Word of God is enough, you are deluding yourself, is what the Scripture says. You are deceiving yourself.
Today's Pathway Minute is provided by your station and Pathway to Victory. To hear the Bible teaching of Dr. Robert Jeffress, go to ptv.org.
Hi, I'm Barry McGuire. I'm a layman here to remind you that faith sharing is a barometer for your spiritual health. No matter where you are today or any day, if you're a Christian, you're right in the middle of your mission field, and God has already given you everything you need to be successful. John 3:34 is one of the most remarkable statements about Jesus that was ever written. It says Jesus was given the Holy Spirit without limit. It's saying that when God sent Jesus into the world to seek and save the lost, God made all of heaven's resources available to him. All of his resources. Yes, all. It's mind-boggling to say the least. So why do you think he would withhold any of that from you whom he calls his ambassador? No. For those he sends, he equips. That's his promise, and God never breaks a promise. That's how he works. If you need help sharing your faith, go to igniteamerica.com.
Yes, it's another episode of Famous Fairy Tales, the radio program where you learn the rest of the story from your childhood. Today we find ourselves at the seashore. I understand the famous Little Mermaid can be found here. I don't see anybody who looks like her. I'll ask someone. Ma'am, do you know where I can find the Little Mermaid?
Oh, that would be me.
My goodness, I'm surprised. You don't seem to have a tail, and you're not a...
Little? Is that what you were going to say?
Well,
Oh, it's okay. You're right. I have put on a few pounds. But don't we all?
Oh, yes, indeed. I do plead guilty of that myself. But a more important question is what happened? I mean, where's your tail?
Don't you remember the story? I gave it up for love.
Of the handsome prince, right?
Oh, well, he'll be part of the story. I did, after all, marry him.
But there's more?
Oh, yes. You see, I was getting tired of the water ballet gig.
You mean the tail wasn't real? I'm surprised.
Oh, yes, everybody is. I wish I could give Hans Christian Andersen. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind.
I believe you might be too late.
Well, anyway, I met Ricky. That's my husband. When I was working in the Everglades.
So your husband's a real prince.
Well, I like to think so. But really, it's his last name.
So, Ricky Prince.
That's right.
So, how did you meet? Swimming?
No, it was at church. He was the preacher.
You don't usually think of a mermaid at church.
I know. I was feeling tired and kind of waterlogged, and I didn't know what to do. So I thought I'd give it a try.
Did it help?
Did it ever? I was so moved. I accepted Christ that very day.
What was it that touched you so much?
It was that scripture, Matthew 11:28.
Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
That's it. I was just so tired of the life I was living. That rest part really rang true.
And did your life change?
It sure did. I began to teach swimming at church camp. And a few years later, I married the pastor.
I think I see some children heading this way. Could they be your swimming students?
You're right. Where did the time go? Over here, kids. Please excuse me.
Of course. Thank you for sharing your story.
And by the way, those extra pounds,
Yes.
they help a person float.
As you just heard, listeners, the words happily ever after are much more complicated than you may think. Tune in soon for another episode of Famous Fairy Tales, the radio program where you learn the rest of the stories of your childhood. Wow, I am so honored really to be part of Christian Car Guy Theater. And, Ann is with us right now. So, Ann, as you listen to that, which I'm so glad you got a chance to listen to it, tell me your thoughts.
Oh, I'm just brimming with joy. I'm telling you, and it is so true. All those principles in this particular episode. Just hearing God's word isn't enough. It has to be so embedded in our hearts that we give to others what we've received from Him. And the more you do that, we need to exercise in ourselves in love, and the love that God gives us. Isn't it amazing? It's so against our common sense. We think, I give and therefore I receive. How does that work? But it does work. And it's one of God's wonderful principles, and it works.
I have to share, and I hope you're good with this, Ann, because we've talked about it many times, but Ann, unfortunately, about 2 years ago, got a brain tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And that brain tumor led to a horrific loss in her short-term memory.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, Ann is, or I don't know, it's God's plan that Ann is now in an assisted living place in Mississippi where her brother lives. And from day to day, she really struggles to know, gee, why am I not driving anymore? Or why is this happening? It's a real struggle for her. And so when we record these episodes, because of her memory situation, it's really a delightful process, but it's more of a process. This just shows you the gift that God gave her. Okay. Because when she is saying those lines, when you were hearing it, if you could hear the recording of it, what we recorded took about 40 minutes because I give her a line or a half a line or a few pieces of a line, then she repeats it. And then I put that together with the other part of a line of another part of a line. As I edit it, takes another 2 or 3 hours, which is worth it because what you hear, it sounds like but you see, that's her gift to enunciate words and to be in character in spite of the fact that she really doesn't know what the line is. But she's giving you, as soon as she has the words, she forms them immediately into the part of the line that she's delivering. And so I find it just absolutely spectacular that here at this stage of Ann's career, which she's had a long, if you don't know, Ann was with Adventures in Odyssey with, focus on the family. So I know when you heard James Dobson, are you aware that James Dobson passed away this weekend?
I just heard that.
Yeah, I know.
What a loss.
What a tug at the heart. Man, what a man. What a man.
He was
amazing.
But she was on Broadway, off Broadway.
Wow. It was fun.
And
still is.
And she was in the Hollywood
Christian Car Guy Theater.
She was the president of the Hollywood Actors, Christian Actors Guild. What was the name of that, Ann?
The Actors Co-op. Right. It was called Actors Co-op. We had our meetings at Hollywood Presbyterian Church, and just a marvelous group of folks, just training them up in the arts of God, really, and doing wonderful adventures, as only God could arrange it. And even what I've gone through, it's just one of those earth life things that we all go through one time or another, our challenges. But as we just, press on day by day.
And
God's help.
So we used to do a lot more complicated episodes of Christian Car Guy Theater. But when this happened, Ellen Kennedy, which is also one of Ann's best friends, writes these special episodes for us that are simple and easy, with catchy ideas, and that we can continue on with Christian Car Guy Theater, which we have for over 2 years like this with Famous Fairy Tales. And here's the other part that I know blesses you, blesses me, Ann. Christian Car Guy Theater podcast, which is a podcast, is growing by leaps and bounds. Way more than before we did Famous Fairy Tales. I mean, back when we had all our stuff going on, we had a whole stable of amazing actors and all that we were doing. It did well, but now that we're doing Famous Fairy Tales, it's taken off. So you're still blessing people, and it's getting in more. Hopefully children. It was originally designed for children. Like Saturday mornings would be a great time for kids to listen to the radio. And so Christian Car Guy Theater was designed for that very thing. So if you have children, you might consider, because all the Christian Car Guy Theater episodes have these kind of themes, and we're trying to make things so simple and relatable for children. And that's what Christian Car Guy Theater is all about, right, Ann?
And with God, nothing is impossible. Nothing. God is so amazing. In fact, when we go through the struggles we all go through, I mean, all of us go through stuff, but he is so much more visible than even when we were, quote, healthier. And praise his holy name. I'm so blessed, and I am so blessed, Robbie Dilmore, to be part of Christian Car Guy Theater. And as long as I'm able, I'm going to do it, because I just love it. I love getting these principles of God that are real, and it's truth, spirit, and truth, and getting them across to people who are going through the same struggles we all are.
There you go. I love it. It's beautiful. Thank you, Ann. Again, I'm going to leave you on hold so you can hear the rest of the show. But I'm going to go to
thank you for what
Kaylin.
you do.
Yes, I'm going to go to Kaylin, who's in San Diego. So, Kaylin.
Wow. Good morning, Kaylin.
Hi, good morning.
So you've got something about service people, it says. I'm interested.
Yes, absolutely. So it just laid on my heart this morning to speak, to our brothers and sisters on the front lines. You ever just know that someone is always thinking of you? And this is to include first responders. Every second, we love you. I served myself 5 years in the U.S. Navy, supporting armament systems, working on aircraft.
Really? Wow. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was an honor. And 2 back-to-back deployments on 2 aircraft carriers. So I've been all over. And I just wanted to share, you just know when you're in the right place, surrounded by people that will uplift you and encourage you to have faith.
Kaylin, I can tell by that music I got to go to a break, which I know you've been so patient to hang on. Will you hang on through another break for me? We would love to talk to you some more if that's
Thank
okay.
you so much,
and
Kaylin.
I'm honored by your call, actually, and out there in San Diego today. So we'll be right back with Kaylin, Ann, and a whole lot more grace, I hope.
Thanks.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Truth Network, truthnetwork.com.
A family treasure, a man of God, has gone on to be with his eternal family in heaven. Thank you, Dr. Dobson.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Author, speaker, radio host, and mighty man of God, Dr. James Dobson has gone on to heaven. You may remember his many books, Dare to Discipline, Love Must Be Tough, all kinds of books on marriage and family and raising kids in the fear of the Lord. So many of us, including my family, have been eternally impacted by this man of God's contribution. Thank you, Dr. Dobson, for putting God first and then putting family above all else. In a day and age of compromise, Dr. Dobson stood for what was right and fought for the family. Thank God for Dr. James Dobson.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
I spent a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The eloquent words of some of our old hymns manage to add beauty to the darkest days of life. Hello, I'm Chuck Swindoll. Here's an example. When through fiery trials thy pathway shall lie, my grace, all sufficient, shall be thy supply. The flame shall not hurt thee. I only design thy dross to consume and thy gold to refine. What beautiful words. You and I might never have thought to describe a difficult period like that. But others before us have suffered, remember, and they've left behind these wonderful words to encourage us to hold on to hope, to press forward, to trust in our God.
Pastor and teacher Chuck Swindoll. Visit Insight for Living's website at insight.org.
The Times of London, the famous British newspaper, ran an editorial more than a century ago that was entitled, "What is Wrong with the World Today?" Author and Christian apologist G.K. Chesterton wrote a short letter to the editor to answer the question. Dear Sir, I am the problem. Yours faithfully, G.K. Chesterton. The famous writer displayed a profound sense of theological understanding by recognizing that human sinfulness was the problem with the world in his day, and it remains the problem in ours. Fortunately, if we are willing to say to God, I am the problem, He will say to us, I am the solution. This is David Jeremiah, encouraging you to get on the road to new life. Discover God's solutions on Route 66.
Route 66, driving the word home. Log on to Route66Life.com. Start your journey home today.
Hi, I'm Johnny Erickson Tata with the question, would you say that you are a sinner? Well, if you claim Christ as Savior, I'm sure you'd say yes without hesitating. Now, here's a follow-up question. Have you sinned in the last day or so? Again, you would quickly nod yes in agreement, right? Now my final question. When is the last time you asked someone to forgive you? Was it a week ago, a month ago, perhaps a year ago? If you have not made a fairly recent transaction of forgiveness, you may be a theoretical sinner. That is, a Christian whose self-estimation is far different than God's view of your spiritual condition. Matthew chapter 5 says that if you have offended someone, or if someone has wronged you, first go to be reconciled to your brother, then come offer your gift. Oh, friend, stay spiritually healthy by keeping short list with those you wronged or those who have wronged you.
Simply remember my favorite things.
You are my favorite person. Yeah. You are the very best thing that has happened to me. If they line up everybody in the world and I got my pick of 4 billion guys, 4 billion girls, I'd say you are my favorite person.
Grace. We can give it and we can get it. And it ain't so easy sometimes. I gotta be truthful, but it's an opportunity. We're talking about that today on the Christian Car Guy Show, and we've got the Jesus Labor Love, one of my favorite things to talk about on the Christian Car Guy Show, because we see God doing so many amazing miracles. And we've been talking with Kaylin in San Diego, who is rightfully, and I'm wonderfully wanting to honor and let service people everywhere know that they're being prayed for. And you know who else actually hears this show a lot, Kaylin, that you may not imagine, that in my own mind are sort of first responders, or certainly service people. Is they're in prisons all over. People have radios. They can't watch much TV, but they listen a lot to the radio.
Captive
and it's very
audience,
common that they listen to talk shows, Christian talk shows. And so there's a whole lot of guards that are literally putting their lives on the line every day for us, whether we realize it or not, because they're in this situation. Some of them are wonderful and graceful, and we're grateful for all of them too. All the guards that are that are out there serving us all, as well as the people that are incarcerated. We love them too, and I get some beautiful letters from people incarcerated all the time that blow my mind. Actually, that God's doing an amazing work out there with everybody. But Scott, you apparently know Kayla. I did not know that.
Well, sort of. First of all, I would like to say thank you for holding on for so long over that long break, and I also want to say thank you for your service to our country and 2 deployments, aircraft carrier.
Yes.
Wow, that
Yes.
is those things are huge. Wow. That is so impressive and just unbelievable. So you have family back here, and you've got family there. And so you didn't drive the Taurus, right? The Taurus that we gave you, it's back home,
No.
then you
No.
flew out there.
Yes, that's correct. Just to finish my time, finish up here in San Diego, and I can't wait to be back
Okay.
in North Carolina very soon.
Well, I hear that the weather is beautiful there, and I've heard a lot of things about California. I've never been there, but everybody says San Diego is just a crown jewel. That is just a wonderful place.
Yeah, and David Jeremiah's church is there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
It's fast paced around here. Lots to do. It doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I lived out there for a few years on
I
different
didn't know that,
occasions.
Robbie.
Yeah. My father worked for Buick, and so we were transferred all over California at different times. I lived everywhere from San Francisco down to. I went down. I didn't ever go live as far as San Diego, but pretty close. Pretty close.
Oh yeah.
And,
Wow.
But it's all kind of one big city.
Yes. Yes, it really is.
From San Diego to Los Angeles, there's a lot of stuff there. Anaheim is kind of in the middle, all sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
That are between. So it's a beautiful, amazing place.
Yes.
But if you want to get out of the city, it's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to have a plan. That's for sure.
So this is your home. So you're going to come back home after all your deployments or whatever.
That's
Okay.
right. I'm born and raised in North Carolina.
That's what I
so I'll be
thought.
coming home soon.
Okay.
Absolutely. And see my good friend Scott again. Yes. Good to
Yeah.
hear from you too.
Well, thank you for calling in today. So you're
Yes,
3
thank you
hours
for having me.
behind us, right? So it's the middle of the day there, huh?
No, it's early in the morning.
No, I
Early
got it
in the
backwards.
morning?
Early in the morning.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
not even 8:00 in the morning yet. So she made a
That's
special
right.
effort to call us this
Yeah.
morning. I'm so
Well,
grateful.
we
And
certainly do appreciate that.
Ann's, we got them in 3 time zones now. We got Ann is in the Central time zone, and
Yeah.
and you're,
We try to
you're in
cover all the bases, right?
we don't have anybody in Mountain Time, or we'd be covered. But anyway, thank you so much, Caitlin. God bless you.
Thank you so much,
And
Caleb.
we'll be
We
praying
appreciate
for,
it.
Thank
like you
you.
said, all those people that are deployed.
Be safe.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
again, we want to mention to those listening that the amazing grace that you've shown by continuing to donate cars. And we've had cars donated all over the country. And so we're always grateful. And again, if you want to know how to do that, and you've got a car sitting around, and you know somebody's got a car sitting around, it's just sitting there. Man, what an impact it makes on somebody's life, like Caitlin, or you heard Wendy earlier. We have seen some amazing stuff with what God does, because often these people need to get their family members to the hospitals and stuff like that. And it's such an amazing thing that God provides for that. So if you go to ChristianCarGuy.com, it's all one word, Christian Car Guy. And if you go to ChristianCarGuy.com, you're going to see the Jesus Labor Love banner right there on the left. And it says, one of them says donate a car. One of them says, apply for assistance. So if you know somebody that is in need of car repair, which is what we do a lot more than replace cars, or something along those lines, that's what that's there for. And the beauty of it is we're kind of the middleman. And I've always loved this, is that here's all these people out there with needs. And then there's all these people out there listening that are praying for needs and meeting needs financially, or meeting needs for a car. And all we kind of do is allow God to show, his grace, right? Through the process of what's going on is, people are in need. And it was just like, in its own way, the Christian Car Guy Theater we were the middlemen, weren't we, man? And because we were the original two. I did the first episode by myself, and then Ann heard it, and she asked if I would, which just blew my mind, because here was this unbelievable Hollywood actress willing to take part in Christian Car Guy Theater. And so I wrote the first episode with Ann Alt was called Sinister Sally Serpentine.
I know. What a great start.
Because she, with Adventures in Odyssey, she plays an amazing bad guy. And so which is really, if you look and see which soap opera stars or anybody gets paid the most, it's the bad guys, because it's the hardest.
Takes the most talent.
Right. Same thing in professional wrestling. They want the bad guys are the ones that bring the crowd.
Absolutely.
Because
I'm telling you something. I have been so blessed. I just want to throw this in there to still be part of Christian Car Guy Theater, despite the fact that I've got my challenges. But Robbie's show, I just wrote this down. It shows God's love, mercy, grace, humor in challenging times, including mine. I'm telling you, this has been my blessing. That is for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's God providing talent like he did through Christian Car Guy Theater, and then people out there that receive it, however it works. And then, it's just this, if you don't have a need for it, and it's going to be fascinating how the story plays out, Ann,
Yeah.
But I know that it looked like a difficult twist, but God has made it beautiful,
Yeah. As he does all of our challenges, I think. He doesn't waste a thing, does he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't waste a thing. And if you look at those and you go, okay, God, what do you want with this? It looks horrible, but he's got something in it, and then he just makes it look beautiful. And it's an amazing story, as is your life. Everyone listening, by the way.
We can share. I wrote down, we can share the favor God gives us, starts to feel as good as if we received what we give to others. And God's best tools for survival is love and gratitude. That's what it is. These challenges, some people get so under their challenges. Well, you don't have to be under them. You can be above them with God's grace. And he gives it. He gives it unstintingly,
He does. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Scott. And thank you guys for listening. It means so much to us. It really does, because what God's doing, it's more than amazing. And as always, remember, slow down. Jesus walked everywhere he went, got it all done in 33 years. I'm so grateful for your listening to the Christian
You're
Car
listening
Guy.
to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. I overdosed on heroin, and I lived. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. My desire to change had finally outweighed my desire to stay the same. I felt powerless for so much of my life. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. For the first time, I finally feel like I'm exactly where I should be, where I want to be.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Kingdom Pursuits, where you hear from ordinary people instilled with an extraordinary passion. Together, we explore the stories of men and women who take what they love and let God turn their passion into kingdom pursuits. Now, live from the Truth Booth, your host, Robbie Dilmore.
Oh, I am so glad that you tuned in today. I think we've got something that I'm terribly excited about. It. We have two amazing authors in two amazingly different ways, but kind of along the same lines. And so first off, we have Kurt Warner, who is actually a licensed social worker, a psychologist, and he wrote a book that is extremely intriguing to me. It's called False Idols: How Diversion is Destroying Democracy. And it's based on some Greek philosophical concepts of bread and circuses. So you're going to have so much fun with that. It's unbelievable. And so welcome, Kurt.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're honored that you would join us. And Kurt's written a couple books and has actually an amazing story, which we're anxious to hear something about that as well. But I think that you're going to find what he discusses here is absolutely intriguing, and certainly the way certain democracies have not done so well before us, and our opportunity to learn from that. And so next up we have Darla Nelson, and she's a Christian life coach and author, and she wrote the book I'm Fine, Really. Maybe I should say it like this: I'm fine, really. Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. But you do know, Darla, that when you go to church and you walk up to people and they all, I'm fine. And it's sort of like I'm fine volleyball. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine. Yeah, we're just fine. But nonetheless, it would be really good to move from stress and anxiety to peace and calm, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on your call. This is wonderful.
Yes, and I appreciate you getting up early there. You're out west on vacation, right?
Yes, I'm in California at the beach, but this is great. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Me too. And Kurt, where are you this morning?
I'm in upstate New York.
Really? Where in upstate New York?
The Syracuse area. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah.
Very familiar. My mother was from a little town called Gloversville, but she moved to Rochester later. And I have all sorts of relatives all over up there. And so I love upstate New York. I really do.
I know Gloversville. I know Rochester. It's about an hour and a half from where I'm staying.
You know Gloversville?
Yes, I've been through. Yeah, I'm always in upstate New York. So yes.
Fun fact: I'm just going to tell you that Tammy and I, my wife and I, we get maple syrup from Gloversville. We have it shipped 2 times a year so that we can always. Tammy loves maple syrup in her coffee, and there's nothing. And you know this, Kurt. There's nothing like real upstate New York maple syrup. Am I right?
It's practically from the origin in Canada. Yeah, I mean we're not far from Canada.
Yeah, it's
the maple. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they just think their flag has to do something. But nonetheless, I love it. But I also I find it fascinating. Your study of Greek philosophy, and so can you give our listeners a little taste of this bread and circuses idea?
Well, the concept of bread and circuses, I love antiquity. I love Greek and Roman, but it's a Roman concept in that there was a poet named Juvenal who lived in early AD, and he wrote the satires. He was the forerunner to satire today. He was one of them. He was one of the earliest. Yes. So, and part of his satire was to mock the Roman Empire, to say things, that poked at it, but did it in a lighthearted way. The notion of bread and circuses came out of the satires, and in terms of the symbol, the bread and circuses that he's talking about, Rome would give free bread to the people, free grain, I should say, to the people, to the poor, to keep them from uprising. So the senators didn't want them to kill them, so they would give them bread to pacify them, especially in times of famine. And circuses was the Colosseum, the games, and they gave them. They put on free games and they gave them free grain in order to make sure that they didn't rise up, and it was pure distraction, diversion, and that's where I took the inspiration for the book.
Right, and so as we move on to Darla for a second, just be pondering, like, how is America giving us bread and circuses? And I think you'll be fine.
You'll be fine, really.
You'll be fine, really. So, Darla, I can't help but wonder: is there a story behind moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm?
Absolutely. Just some life experiences, like one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible is Philippians 4, verse 8, where it just speaks about whatsoever is true and honest, and to think on those things. And so that verse was really instrumental in my heart as I went through some difficult life experiences. So when I started thinking about writing a book, my book is written for women, and I like to say, and a few wise men. And I say that because you love that, right? Right?
Yeah, I do. The few, the proud. Yes.
Yeah. It's because I've had, over the last couple of years, I've had some men that were willing to get vulnerable. So men and women who were tired of living in that stress mode. They were tired of saying they're fine when they're really not. And so my book really helps to invite them to be real and to let go of what's kept them stuck and to move forward with the grace of God. And it's been amazing to see. It's only been out for a few weeks, and it became a bestseller on day 2. I couldn't believe it. And I'm just so grateful that we can use this book to really help people I want to point them back to Jesus. So it's great.
Oh, I think it's, and again, the title is so also compelling as Kurt's is.
Thank you.
And because when I looked at it, I just always think, really? Like, you're fine, really?
Exactly, right.
Because I'm a pastor besides being a talk show host. And so, how are you guys doing? I'm fine. The natural response is, really? Well, we wrecked the car. Well, pastor, because it's hard. It's hard because we don't think that people are really all that interested, but they need to be, right? It's part of being accepted, being part of it. But getting back to juvenile, of course, just being that I am juvenile, my immediate response to that was, I wonder if he was a young man. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, 55 to 128 of the years. When he wrote it is not well known. He wasn't a power figure, or he was a satirist. He wrote. There were other satirists at the time, like Perseus, and but there's not a lot about his life that's written. He was not a Caesar, in that way.
Right, but it's beautiful that you picked it up, and then you saw the value of how his satire was bringing to and again, so as you begin to bring that to life in the book, can you kind of take our listeners along, how we can use that information?
So, bringing it back from a scriptural standpoint, Matthew 6:21 talks about where Jesus talks about in the Sermon on the Mount, wherever your treasure is, your heart is also.
Oh, very true.
Yes, and I think that so our treasures vary throughout our life. When we're young to old, they certainly evolve, and they evolve with influence from our environment. And what I'm trying to target is the environmental influences that direct our attention and our desires in certain ways that are other than where maybe where our treasure probably ought to be. Which is so the entire book takes chapter by chapter different systems and structures in society that do exactly what sports did in the past. The Colosseum pacify us.
That is so cool. And I hate we got to go to a break, but we do. And when we come back, for our listeners who are used to it, we will do a little shenanigans. And you might guess that my topic will be circuses, but So we got a lot more coming up.
Family treasure, a man of God, has gone on to be with his eternal family in heaven. Thank you, Dr. Dobson.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Author, speaker, radio host, and mighty man of God, Dr. James Dobson has gone on to heaven. You may remember his many books, Dare to Discipline, Love Must Be Tough, all kinds of books on marriage and family and raising kids in the fear of the Lord. So many of us, including my family, have been eternally impacted by this man of God's contribution. Thank you, Dr. Dobson, for putting God first and then putting family above all else. In a day and age of compromise, Dr. Dobson stood for what was right and fought for the family. Thank God for Dr. James Dobson.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
The life of every child is precious beyond measure. If you care for a child with a disability and have limited income and resources, help is available. Children with a physical or mental disability or who are blind may qualify for monthly cash payments through the Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI. The program provides help to meet basic needs for food, clothing, or a place to live, and disability-related needs. It's money that can make a meaningful difference. If you're the parent or caregiver of a child or teenager you think may be eligible, call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI-Kids to learn how to apply today. That's ssa.gov/SSI-Kids. It's real help for the children. Message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
We all make promises, big and small, tested over time and distance, tried by circumstances and decisions.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I do solemnly swear to bear true faith and allegiance.
To help you when you're in need.
To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
To be considerate and caring. Courageous and strong.
For better.
For worse. In sickness and in health.
To love and cherish.
To be your loving, faithful friend.
Partner.
Child. Parent. Neighbor.
One of our most important commitments is to support our nation's veterans. Learn how you can help a veteran going through a difficult time by visiting maketheconnection.net.
Welcome back to Kingdom Pursuits, where we hear how God takes your passion and uses it to build the kingdom. We're so blessed, really, really are today to have Kurt Warner with us. He is a licensed social worker, and he wrote an amazing book, False Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy. And we also have with us, equally amazing, Darla Nelson. She's a Christian life coach and author of the book, I'm Fine, Really. Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. And so you guys may not be aware of this because you're not veteran Kingdom Pursuit listeners, but we always have to play shenanigans. My audience is expecting it. And I usually use a topic from something we're talking about today. And naturally, you could imagine, Nick, that when I saw this word circuses, I couldn't resist, right? Because, you know, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Right. Love that quote.
And so, speaking of circus,
Now the fun begins. Now it's time to play shenanigans.
yes, it is time to play shenanigans. And so, I am really waited a long time. You guys feel free if you have one of these answers, Kurt or Darla, you know, I would love it. So, you know, just to start off, it's an old one, but it's one of my favorite circus jokes. How do you kill a circus, Nick? Do you know how you kill a circus?
Oh, man.
You may know, Kurt, since I'm sure Juvenile
I'd have to Google it.
He'd get a big kick out of this one. You kill a circus, you go for the juggler. I get him every time.
Nothing like a good, clean joke, right?
Yes, Juvenile would have loved that. I'm sure his view of satire and that kind of thing. So this one's a little easier, Nick. I bet you can get it.
Okay.
All right. What do you call a dog in the circus?
Dog in a circus.
A dog in the circus. Yeah, it's pretty easy, really.
Oh man, it's gonna pass right by me.
You got any ideas, guys?
A dog in a circus.
Yeah, that's what you call a carnival barker. And you may see this, if you're going through the want ads nowadays online, you don't do that anymore in the paper, I guess. And you see this, opportunity to join the circus as an extortionist, How do you go after that one? Do you think, Nick? You could be an extortionist. Excuse me, not an extortionist. What's it called? I'm using the wrong word.
Contortionist?
Contortionist.
Yeah, you're using the wrong word.
Oh, I was so confused.
Well, extortionist, contortionist, it's about the same thing. So how do you go for the job of being a contortionist at the circus?
You got to make sure you're flexible.
Very true. You have to be flexible.
Yeah.
And you can simply just enter yourself and get the job. just enter yourself. All right. So last on the list of shenanigan jokes is, what was the act of the man that got fired from the circus? What was the act of the man that got fired from the circus? This one's the easiest of them all.
The ringleader?
He was in his own way.
Oh.
Of his act, he was the ringleader. You guys got it? It's really pretty easy. You do. What is it, Darla?
Oh, do I have the answer? No.
They got the question. All right. Here's the answer. He was the human cannonball. He got fired.
Oh, man. I forgot about Cannonball. Very nice.
Yeah, there you go. So with all the shenanigans over, you knew you would get a opportunity to call in and win today. And so with that in mind, here comes the big question. You can call in today at 866-348-7884. 866-348-7884. Got an easy one for you. What circus in the Bible got Jesus so mad he whipped it back into shape? What circus? It was a circus. What circus in the Bible got Jesus so whipped up? Got him mad and he whipped it into shape. 866-34. Don't give them the answer. They got to call in and win. All right, 866-348. You got one, Darla.
I didn't hear it.
No, you didn't hear that. Okay. 866-348-7884. And if they can answer that question, Nick, tell them what they'll win.
Absolutely. Yes, you'll be winning a prize from our Kenny Pursuits prize vault. That's just overfilling with so many prizes that we can just give out. Like, just
we do. We have T-shirts,
back scratchers.
We have gospel back scratchers, not any old back scratchers, but these you share the gospel. And then we still have one NICAM left. That's been real popular lately.
Yes. I sent one out last week to our caller. Very good.
Yeah, it may come in handy. You don't know. 866-348-7884. 866-34-TRUTH. What circus in the Bible got Jesus so mad that he whipped it back up into shape? Okay, so getting back to the actual purpose of the show here. Again, when we left Kurt, he was discussing, here's an opportunity for us to look at ourselves through ancient Rome, right? And what it was that they were doing, obviously offering them grain and games, free games. It was a diversion from what they really perhaps should have been concerned about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the point. I mean, we're always being placated so much in one way. Our head is being twisted in one way or the other. We're never looking. We're often encouraged not to look at this. Maybe what's important.
Right. When you, especially, I guess it's all over the government in its own way that, we'll give you Social Security, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, but then, never mind that we're spending $1 billion, zillion dollars over here with these special interest groups because we're taking care of you over here, and it's an interesting things that happens to democracy. In your book, did you give some practical stuff that we can kind of see between the lines or kind of help us discover it?
Yes, I love the way you put that, see between the lines, because there are chapters dedicated to what I'm calling waking up from that opiate that we're being given. Which
I like that. NICAM.
Yeah. Yes. And a big part of that is learning to sift through it, which is critically thinking. So on the macro level, we could obviously change the systems and make it so they're ours, which we do through our democracy. Or on the micro, the micro level, we could learn to think in a certain way, which is what I do as a therapist all the time, in terms of help others to look at it in a certain way that maybe makes their yoke not so heavy, their burden.
Oh, I love that. All right.
Yeah, so,
that is absolutely spectacular, Kurt. You're exactly right.
Thank you.
We have a picture of what we think is important, but critical thinking, or having somebody to step in like a good social worker or a good therapist or a good life coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Darla. And I bet you employ the same kind of idea.
Absolutely. I really am enjoying this conversation because one of the things is just really helping people to walk through simple life-giving shifts that are going to help them to really understand what's really behind the stress they feel, and to release, any emotional weight that they might be experiencing, so that they can know, like we've heard, just more what's important, what's truly important. And it's all about pointing people back to Christ.
Right. And in your case, when I think about it, in my own life, I don't have to look far. Right.
Are you a wise man?
I'm working on it. But no, seriously, in my own life, I take on all sorts of distractions that keep me from even looking at the stuff that is actually causing the stress underneath. Right. And
absolutely.
And just to go, why is it that that this stuff is going on inside of me? Well, I've got to go take care of this, and I've got to go take care of that, and I've got to, and that whole idea of distractions. And so that's the beautiful thing about reading books like this, guys. Again, these two books, False Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy, and the other book is I'm Fine, Really, Moving from Stress and Anxiety to Peace and Calm. Getting an outside view so you can stand and start to begin to look back and the things that could really make your life more full. And as you can hear, God's very much involved in it. But we got Cindy is in Greenville, Ohio. I didn't even know there was a Greenville, Ohio, Cindy. I'm thrilled to know that. We have a Greenville in South Carolina. We have a Greenville in North Carolina. But now there's a triad of Greenvilles. Are you with me, Cindy?
Yes.
So where is Greenville, Ohio?
Yes, Greenville, Ohio. If you know where Dayton, Ohio is.
I do.
It's about an hour north of Dayton, Ohio.
Well, good for you. You're up closer to Lake Erie.
I am.
That's wonderful.
Small little town.
Yeah. Is that anywhere near Sandusky?
I'm not sure, actually.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. But you know the answer to what was Jesus trying to whip into shape there?
Yes, I do. It was the money exchangers. They were selling things in the temple, so he whipped them out of there and turned the table over.
You couldn't be more right. You couldn't be more right. And when you think about what's going on there, talk about a diversion. Talk about keeping people from the main thing. And Jesus is saying, wait a minute, my house is supposed to be a house of prayer. He's quoting Isaiah. Cindy, you're exactly right. I'm going to put you back on hold so you can talk to Nick and he can find out which prize you would like. We got lots of books, t-shirts, and of course those other ones we mentioned. We'll be right back with a whole lot more Kingdom Pursuits.
Everybody has a smile story, those daily moments of joy that make you smile, especially when you're a child like 3-year-old Zena. Her smile is as bright as her future. But there's something you wouldn't know about Zena. She was born with a cleft lip, which can make it hard to eat, talk, hear, and even breathe. And she's far from alone. A baby is born with a cleft every 3 minutes. This hurdle could have kept Zena from living her full smile story. Thankfully, she met Smile Train. Since 1999, Smile Train has helped millions of children like Zena find their forever smiles by empowering medical professionals around the world to provide cleft care in their own communities at no cost to families. Smile Train is working tirelessly to give every child with a cleft the opportunity to live their full smile story. Learn how you can help more kids like Zena at smiletrain.org/learn.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. You get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice. But wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. You've got support. You can't control the chaos, but you can chart your way through it. Steady yourself. Take a breath. You're not alone. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
Each word is a testimony. And his word is always true on the Truth Network.
Welcome back to Kingdom Pursuits, where we hear how God takes your passion and uses it to build the kingdom. It's so amazing. I get to hear such wonderful folks every week, and I'm so grateful for you tuning in today and taking part in this, and an opportunity to share what God's doing out there with these wonderful books. And so I have noted, Darla and Kurt, I've got my K mixed up with my D. So dirt doesn't sound good, but
Dirt doesn't sound right.
No.
But yeah, Darla and Kurt, I'll tell a little story to make the point. I one time was charged with doing 100 interviews at the American Association of Christian Counselors in a weekend when they had a big summit, and they wanted me to interview 100 counselors in this one weekend.
Wow.
And so we're going to use these interviews, but each one of them had to be about 10 minutes. And so I prayed, and I was like, God, you got to give me something, because how do I get to the heart of the issue in 10 minutes with these people that would be of any value to anybody? And he gave me this question, which I've never forgotten. The results are unbelievable, because when you get something from God, it's amazing. He said, Robbie, 2 Corinthians chapter 1 says, the God of all comfort comforts us, that we might comfort others with the comfort that we were comforted with. And so I started each interview with that question. Hey, I noticed that you are working in a pregnancy care center, Is that affected by the idea of the God of all comfort? It comforts us with a comfort that we are comforted with, that we might comfort others with that comfort. And every single time, with the exception of one, on 100 interviews, including a full-on psychiatrist, they had an incredible story that they were now comforting others with the comfort that they'd been comforted with.
Mm-hmm.
And so my guess, since you both are finding yourselves in a similar fields, right? You're a licensed social worker, but also a psychologist, and Darla, a Christian life coach. Darla has already mentioned a little bit of hers, but your first book, Kurt, right? All Things Possible. Pretty successful book from what I understand. That came from God comforting you, it sounded like.
When you say all things possible, that's not, that might be Kurt Warner, the football player, I think. More than my first book was called Victory in Every Fall.
Okay, that's right. I don't know why but you're right. But I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm going,
Yeah.
But you're right. It is. They just what I was reading the article right there just titled it wrong, or started out wrong. They came back with, coming back from a fall, but that was part of your own story, right?
Yeah. Well, Victory in Every Fall. I lay out my it's a therapeutic journey through my injuries and disorders, issues that I've had to, adversity I've had to overcome, and it's in hopes that other people can use the tools I use to overcome theirs.
And so give the title of that book too, because it looks amazing.
It's got another Greek notion. It's called Victory in Every Fall, the Antaeus approach to overcome disabilities.
Oh, cool. And so how about that one? Who is Antaeus?
Antaeus is a Greek god. So Antaeus is the son of two important Greek gods, Poseidon and Gaia, and he's invincible. He's mostly invincible. He's very powerful. He's a giant, and whenever he's thrown to the ground, here's the reason I use him in the book. Whenever he's thrown to the ground is his mother, Gaia, the goddess of the earth. So he gets stronger every time he's thrown to the ground. And what I'm trying to argue in the book is that when we are thrown to the ground in life, we can be made stronger by being thrown down, by utilizing and learning the lessons from hitting the ground, from the adversity that we overcome. I've had a traumatic brain injury that left me, I was assaulted and left for dead in a basement, and my left vertebral artery was broken. I lost the entire left side of my cerebellum. So I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to talk and do virtually everything again. It was like being a new, my mom, it was like when I was growing up again. Yeah. After, and I have very severe, I've struggled with bipolar disorder since I'm 15, which left me suicidal much of the year, every year. And I've also had OCD OCD is my first memory on earth since 5. So, which is something
and so that's why I can't help but just love the title of that, Victory in Every Fall, because when you hear that, and again, I bet you for you to write is a joy because you can express yourself more fluently, I would suppose.
It's been one of the greatest therapeutic tools for me to get better. I have written from the time I was able to, when the world stopped spinning as much, because without the cerebellum, there's no coordination. It's like, once I was able to, from that point forward, I have journal entries, books. I've written 20 manuscripts, 3 are published. It's my passion.
I can tell. I can tell. That's kind of the title of the thing, and I can't help but relate in some extent. If you knew my past, I fell 35 feet from tree stand or whatever I was making for my daughter, and fell head first.
Head first, yeah.
And broke all my ribs, collapsed along. It was quite the fall. But as you say, as I was just sitting there relating, like, there's a little funny part to that story I won't tell right now because I want to get to Darla. So I just find that all just so invigorating. Anyway, Darla, you too,
Yes.
right? Victory in every fall.
Absolutely. Life experiences from, financial challenges to health challenges to losing my brother when I was young to
Oh,
losing my
no.
father, all the different things in life that cause stress and anxiety and just learning the tools, really. That's what it's been for me, is learning the tools that help me to quiet the noise and focus on Jesus and learn to live in calm. And one of my favorite sayings is that what we focus on expands. And so it kind of goes back to Philippians 4, verse 8, doesn't it? Because it's like, I get to choose every single day. What am I going to focus on? Is it true? Is it honest? Is it right? Or am I going to focus on all the difficult things in my life? And I'm grateful that I learned that. I'm grateful that I learned to focus instead on the things that are right every single day in my life instead of all the things that were difficult.
Wow, when and I'd never thought about this before, but when you say that, and it goes back to what Kurt had said earlier, when Jesus says, "Where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be." Well, unfortunately, there's times when we treasure our heartache.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so if we're treasuring our heartache, like you say, as you focus on that, it expands because, right? That's where your treasure becomes. And that's where your heart is.
Right. And that distraction even that you talked about earlier, because so often people want to stay stuck in that distraction. They want to stay stuck there because it's easier to stay stuck there than to get vulnerable and to see where they really are in life. And yet what I love to see is that when they are willing to be vulnerable and quiet the noise and focus on Jesus, and that helps them to begin to live in calm and clarity that only He can give.
Yeah. That's absolutely beautiful, Darla. Again, her book, which, by the way, both of these books are at kingdompursuits.com. If you go to kingdompursuits.com, you can see the link right to their Amazon page there, which describes the author as well as Kurt's other book that I saw when I went there. But if you go to kingdompursuits.com, you're going to see, Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy. And then you're going to also see I'm Fine, Really. All right, I have to get that right. I'm Fine, Really. Right. Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. And so we got one more segment with my friends. I hate this is over. I've enjoyed it so much. Kurt Warner and Darla Nelson will be right back, and we're hoping you'll join us.
A family treasure, a man of God, has gone on to be with his eternal family in heaven. Thank you, Dr. Dobson.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Author, speaker, radio host, and mighty man of God, Dr. James Dobson has gone on to heaven. You may remember his many books, Dare to Discipline, Love Must Be Tough, all kinds of books on marriage and family and raising kids in the fear of the Lord. So many of us, including my family, have been eternally impacted by this man of God's contribution. Thank you, Dr. Dobson, for putting God first and then putting family above all else. In a day and age of compromise, Dr. Dobson stood for what was right and fought for the family. Thank God for Dr. James Dobson.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
Each word is a testimony.
A million miles of my mistakes, so couldn't keep your love away. However far away I am from home, that's how far your love will go.
And his word is always true on the Truth Network.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message.
Welcome back to Kingdom Pursuits, where we hear how God takes your passion and uses it to build the kingdom. So much fun today. We've had Kurt Warner, who wrote the book False Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy. False Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy. And Darla Nelson, who wrote I'm Fine. Really? Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. Again, you can find both those at kingdompursuits.com, as well as clearly Amazon or any other great book distributor. What I used to do, like what I always like to do with this last segment, which isn't very long, it's only about 6 minutes, is Darla, I want to give you a chance, and then I'll give Kurt a chance to share anything you want to make sure, you were thinking about this interview. What do I want to get said today? So anything that didn't get said, what would you like said?
Well, my hope is that if someone's listening and they're really feeling stuck in stress or anxious thoughts, I hope they know that they don't have to stay there, that they can know freedom from that. And it's a matter of where we choose to focus. And like I said before, what we focus on expands. And so my hope for others as they listen to this is just knowing that they can change that. I like to say flip the switch. They can flip the switch and they can start to live a life that is going to bring them more peace and calm.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. And again, the book is I'm Fine. Really? Moving from stress.
And you're doing it right. That's great.
Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. And now, Kurt, same question.
My day-to-day as a therapist is one of the big pieces that I do with many people is focus on their values and what is most important to them and sift through all of the noise in their life. And that is an extension of what the book does, certainly on that micro level. It asks us to really prioritize what is most important. I would argue from a Christian standpoint, and this, when Jesus was asked what the greatest commandment is, and I think Matthew 22, he says, love God and love others. And how do we love others? And I would argue our systems are a big part of that. Our democracy, that's all. It's people rule. It means in Greek, the notion of contributing in a meaningful way that reflects what we really care about, what's most important to us. And so I guess the takeaway that I'm trying to say is that finding that within ourselves with whatever, with the value system that we have, Christianity, obviously being highlighted here as far as that goes, and then utilizing it in terms of our say in the greater good, I think is paramount for us going forward.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. You guys have been such amazing guests today. Really, really gifted people. And I love that God put it on your heart to write these books and share what it is that he's teaching us. And then I got a chance to actually talk to you both. It was really fun.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I think that, it's always open, by the way. You now, have my email, or if you want my phone number, whatever you need. If you ever write another book, or you say, man, I need to get up back on Kingdom Pursuits, I would sure hope that you would take me up on that, because I love what you're doing. I love what God's working on in your life. And by the way, if you're listening, that offer is open to you as well. You think, man, I wrote a book, or I did a play, or I even, taught a Sunday school class, whatever it is that God has taken your passion and used it to build a kingdom. You can go to kingdompursuits.com or Christian Car Guy, any of my websites. Believe me, it's pretty easy to find how to contact me. And I would love to have you on the show as well, because again, it to me, the idea of the show has always been that everybody out there, God gave you something special. He did. And as you're using that passion, he shows you things that only he shows you. Nobody else gets to see what you see. And if you don't share that, then we can't see it. And so whether you see it through writing a book, or whether you see it through teaching, or, I had one guy who taught windsurfing at a Christian camp. He saw God in a very unique way, but it was a beautiful thing. And so, therein lies the opportunity that we all have to glorify God as he's given us an opportunity to see him in so many different ways. Again, I'll mention these books. They are Idols, How Diversion, Idols, right? And a big biblical title, by the way. Idols, How Diversion is Destroying Democracy, like man. And again, I'm fine. Really? Moving from stress and anxiety to peace and calm. It's all there again at kingdompursuits.com. And again, for those of you who are listening, that the neat thing is that on the Truth Network, which, by the way, I'm looking at the clock, Nick, are we still? We are. Okay. Because I'm expecting some music that I'm not hearing. Go ahead, Kurt. Since
Robbie, can I just wanted to interject one thing. The beginning of the title is False Idols, and I'm trying to evoke that notion of false gods.
Oh, you're right. It was on the second part of that line. It's false idols. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Because it's false gods that we're worshiping.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
False idols. False idols. How diversion is destroying democracy. And there's the music. I was expecting my clock must be a little bit off. No problem. But I want you all to just grateful to have you on today. And for you listening, oh my goodness, coming up next is Encouraging Prayer with Dr. James Banks. He has an amazing, how to pray when you want to give up today. And then that's followed by the amazing Mike Zwickstock show here in Winston-Salem, followed by It's Time to Man Up with Nikita Koloff, The Russian Nightmare. So much truth. Mm-hmm. Guys, you are awesome. Thank you so much. We're off the air.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. It really was. I'm so glad that you sent me those emails. And I mean that. I couldn't mean that more sincerely. If I can ever help you, please don't hesitate. I would love to have you on again.
Hey,
Thank you
Robbie,
so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And I have a third book that's out in Europe now, but it'll be out here, and it's a utopia based on Christian principles. Would that be something you would have me on for?
Of course.
Email you
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll give it a couple months. Remind me,
okay,
and we'll get you back on. Same thing for you, Darl. Any way you see a new angle to the book or something new that's happening with your book, that's I'd love to have old friends on. And so,
I think that one of the conversations I think that people really need to hear is the reason I added that I work with women and a few wise men is because I really know that there's a huge need for men to become more vulnerable. And I've been seeing that with certain clients that have come to me, and I've seen absolute life change. Because men, even in the Christian realm, a lot of times hide behind what's really going on in their lives. And so I think to have a conversation with you around that.
Yeah. Are you familiar with John Eldredge? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah.
He wrote a book called Wild at Heart. And in that book, he goes into great detail about the very issue you're describing. And he calls it the poser. And we do these Wild at Heart boot camps for men. And we actually spend a whole, maybe 4 or 5 hours of that camp on the idea of why men hide. But we do that because, right? I'm afraid because I was naked, so I hid.
Right.
Right.
And yet there's so much freedom. I think of one of my clients who actually was at my book launch, and it was pretty amazing. He's in my book. If you read the book, I refer to him as Don. Mm-hmm. His name is really Dan, but he's given me permission to now tell the world his story. And when you read it, you'll see that he's just completely changed his life because he was willing to get vulnerable. And took him many, many years to get to that point in his life. And now last August, I got invited to his wedding, and it was just beautiful to see that he only was able to have that wedding and to have the beautiful wife that he has now because he was able to let go of all the trauma in his past.
Yeah, and it's you couldn't be more right, Darla. You really are. And in so many ways, you guys are aiming at exactly a similar, structure, I guess that we've fallen into. And a lot of it is just the idea, will you slow down long enough to take a look at yourself?
Right, exactly. That's
Right.
it. That's it.
Because
And not be distracted, like we talked about.
right. It's a circus out there.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
thank
you
you
guys.
very
Well,
much.
thank you. And
I'm headed to the beach, so I'll let you go.
oh yeah, well, slow down.
I'm going to on the beach.
Thanks again, Kurt. You're amazing,
Thank
my
you
friend.
so
God
much.
bless you
I
both.
really appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Hey, real
Bye-bye.
quick,
bless you.
Kurt and Darla, you still
Bye-bye.
there?
Yeah, they're there.
Yes,
This is
I'm
my
still here.
producer, Nick.
I just want to let you know I'll be making this show into a podcast for the next few hours. Anywhere you get your podcast, the show's called Kingdom Pursuits, and it'll be up there within the next few hours. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
All
Yes.
right. Hope you guys have a great
Thank
weekend.
you.
Have fun at the
Thanks.
beach.
You too.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.